Oh, we realized that we just started talking. We didn't really have an opening, so we thought this would be the opening. Aloha, welcome to our show. This is Kimo Apana, running for State House
Nine.
District 9 here in Kahului. And you can hear an interview, and we thank you for watching.
We're going to find out if two heads are better than one.
That's right.
Let's begin.
Aloha.
But you're right, that is a gap group. And I tell you why it's a gap group. Most of the politicians are bean counters. And they don't see value in this area.
Especially when those aren't voters.
Yeah. But to me, it's like traffic, you know. The mailing guys come here, they cause traffic, you don't care about them, but it's affecting our daily lives. So you need to address it. And that's one of the reasons I'm running for the state house.
Yeah.
I believe a homelessness and other things like what you're talking about is coming to a head, and the county nor the state alone can do it. And they have not found a way to bridge together all their resources. I've been talking.
That's right. State and county, that's like they don't.
Well, they blame each other. Better to kick the can than to solve the problem.
Right.
So I've been talking with some of the people that in that industry, and they telling me it can be solved, but everybody got to do their share. And
Private sector also.
yeah,
The private sector, you know, they talk about have more, give more, help more.
yeah.
Nicolananda was talking about a staggered property tax on the house, the land separate, but the house, so that these simple houses with lower value have less tax rate, and those that have more. You've probably seen all these things over the years, or
Well, my year we created the circuit breaker,
yeah,
and the reason was we saw, for example, Kahala and Honolulu. Before in the old days, all the poor people live on the beach because of tidal waves, because of smallpox, all these things, Hansen's disease. The rich people all went to the mountain. That's Honolulu, Tatlas, Manoa. That's all the rich, the Ikis, the Mariner Rich, all the rich people in the mountain, because they didn't want to stay with the riffraff in the downtown working area, the wharf.
yeah,
So they all went in the mountains. So that was an expensive property. Then when they found out tourists and people from the mainland love beachfront, they started buying beachfront. So you'd have a house here that everybody's house was at one time 100,000. Now somebody rich comes in and says, I don't care what the price, I'll buy it. And they buy for $500,000, whatever. They build a $500,000 house because they can. Now it's $1 million house and property. This guy here has a shack and the same size property. They're going to value this guy's place.
You remember the boat house on Kealakapu Beach? There was a boat. I have friends, Mark and Archie lived there, and their kitchen was the boat. It was right on Kealakapu Beach.
Okay, I don't know.
The owner of that property subdivided. They owned both, and they had that parcel at the thing for $3 million. Everything else was low. They had the house in the front. Took them a few years. They sold that for $3 million, and you see the Kealakapu Avenue.
Yeah, but the sad part is this guy, a local guy, that lived there because
Yeah.
they're poor. They had to live on the beach.
Don't have tax money.
Don't have tax money. They tax out of the house. That's what happened in Kahala. At one time it was all poor people. Now it's all rich people because they don't
What
want
do
to
we
pay
do about
tax.
that?
So we did the circuit breaker that you wouldn't pay more than 3% of your income towards property tax. So that helped a lot of people. Then people came and said, Kimo, but I own 2 houses. And the second one, you pay. You can afford. If you can have 2 houses, you kind of well-to-do. Because a house in Hawaii is about $500,000.
Also, we know historically we got low property
Yeah,
taxes,
yeah.
so we complain, and we already got a good deal
Yeah.
compared to the others.
But there's a reason why it's low.
Why is that?
Because
Department of Education with the state.
that's right. The
See?
courts,
After you hang around, you get some of this
the
stuff.
courts, the
Yeah.
harbors, DOE, all, that's
State.
when people complain. We write parking tickets and go to the state to run the courts.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Because if we had to run the courts, it would cost way more than what we collect in tickets. So I really don't have a problem with that.
We have to give Taguma his own, jurisdiction.
Taguma, I like him. He does his job. And I stopped him one time. I said, I think his first name is Keith. Anyway,
Keith
I
the
said,
go. Yeah.
so I said, Keith, you know, I don't mind you do your job. You do it well.
Yeah.
I think you're following the law. I think you do everything correctly, but you don't have to be smug about it. You know, people know they blew it. They parked there 3 hours instead of 2. They know. Just say, you know, sorry, ma'am. You know, you've been here over 2 hours. Here's your ticket. Not like, hey, next time, no park here. You know, they know they. You know, you don't need to rub it in their face, and that's what I think. People kind of dislike him at times because they think he taking his job too serious.
Yeah.
But you know, the merchants in Wailuku love him because he make the traffic turn over, so they get more customers.
That's how they make the parking work in Wailuku.
They feel safe that. he's
Remember they
around.
had a charrette to try
Yeah.
to figure out the
My
parking?
time.
That's 1,000,000 years ago. Sorry.
No, my time. And
So what's going on
was
now?
ready to go.
Is that a state thing now?
No, that's a county.
Oh, yeah.
Was ready to go there when Arakawa came in. He said he like redesigned the park. He like redesigned everything himself. He could, no, let the public decide.
You know, I've done some interviews now already. And it's like, bring in new people. You want to see a different thing, bring in somebody
Yeah.
new. Keep bringing in 5 terms, they're off for a term, they're back. And then if there are 2 people and this and that. It's quite a scene out there now. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking out of, you're running for state house.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember years ago thinking that you were, I want to say, a protege of Joe Suki. You've had friends, and I felt that you were really being groomed for something that would be important. Because after mayor, I thought I'd see you more involved state. I think you said, because I know that what we're just talking about, that's exactly what someone who's moving to the state that has the experience in the county. It sounds like you're a campaign manager, but you have the kind of experience that, to me, sets up for a future speaker of a house.
I'm speaker of it.
I'm just talking about,
yeah.
you know, you had a leadership role here locally,
Yes.
and you've seen things now. I don't know how many we got. Arakawa, Charmaine, Arakawa, Arakawa. You know, I know that you guys ran against each other, and I always think that we can move forward in a good way. You know, if he's mayor and you're up in the state, I imagine you really can help, I would think, tremendous amount.
You know, being the mayor gives you a lot of insight of the needs of the county, what the county can and cannot do, or does well, and things that they don't do well.
Yeah.
But by working at the state level, you understand that level. You have the connections locally. You have the relationship with the public, because, you know, council member, mayor, you're very close to the public.
Mhm.
State legislature, you kind of little aloof because, you know, you don't deal with much with the public. You kind of look at things on a big, broad scale. That's why I think the legislature now has a lot of council members there, some former mayors, that they really will take the county's needs really at heart. And basically, what is the state? It's the collection of counties. It's the collection of people. It's not like an entity all by itself, like we are the state and we mandate this down. No,
It's
basically
fed by the
helping
counties.
helping
both
the
ways.
people from the grassroots level coming up. It's just that you work in a larger brushstroke. You know, instead of just fixing one school, you're fixing all the schools throughout the state. Look at things on a broader scale. But basically, it's basically running a county almost.
You
Very
like
simple.
running in a district, I imagine, because you have a limited area to go look at.
Running in the district is great because you're closer to the people. Running as a mayor, you run the whole county. I mean, it's hard
What
to
about
see.
council? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Council is
I
the
keep
same
hearing-
as almost identical as mayor.
District voting, I mean, it's amazing that people still don't know they vote for all 9 council
Yes.
people. How long do we have that?
Well, district voting is difficult for several reasons because of the really small, isolated, and unique communities, Molokai, Lanai, and Hana, in particular, that if we went to district voting, those 3 areas plus a little of Haiku or somewhere else will make up 1 seat. That means Molokai, Lanai, and Hana, and
Nick
Haiku.
Lananda talks about 11 seats with 150,000 now. it would be an interesting conversation. I know that we have to educate our people right now that they vote for everyone. We keep seeing these, I like you, but I'm not voting for you. But we hear about preferential voting, second votes going, all kinds of stuff going on. You at the state, do you have anything that you're going specifically for, or what got you to run and want to run?
There's several things that I'm really passionate about. One of them is our hospital.
Okay.
Our hospital is the only one here. It has many, made many great strides under Wes Lowe, who's a former finance director of mine. Congratulations to Wes. But it's just the beginning. We cannot rest on our laurels. We just found out they shut down one department, the adolescents section of the psychiatric ward. They probably save about $1 million a year. But what the legislature did to the hospital this year, which is I think unfair, they said, this is your budget. We're going to increase your budget by adding more employees' pay or whatever they put upon the hospital. And I believe the employees deserve the pay. But yet the legislature did not fund them accordingly. So basically they said, here's more expenses. You're not getting a penny more than last year. Go figure it out. Nearly impossible. I mean, they've been cutting corners. They've been trying to save money internally. It came to the point where they had to lay off people. Actually, it's more than laying off people. It's denying the public its service.
Yeah.
And we really need to fix that. Last year, they tried to sell the hospital or some kind of combination. And, I'm okay with that. If we can't manage the hospital properly or efficiently, get somebody else in. And if they're private sector, hey, wherever it is, we'll find the right people. But you do not throw the employees that gave their sweat and blood all these years under the bus.
Also, we have to look at, I think we have to look at alternative medicine, move it into the mix, move it into the hospital mix, and find an important bridge between all of it, because I think the long term is going to be in the healthcare system. A wellness approach has really got to be brought in more. I know sometimes it's difficult to remember my original intention is to do wellness when we're in fierce problem with getting people better. But I think in the long run, we've got to really do something to educate people about something other than following this same model. We're on a little island. We're going to overwhelm. How can you handle the demand for the hospital? I don't know.
One of my dreams when I was the mayor, I called all the doctors to my office and I said, let's make a heart surgery center. And they said, what do you mean? I said, why do we always have to go to Honolulu, Queens, Straub, whichever, to have a heart surgery? And you should be able to do it here because the recovery part is so important that you want to be near your family and friends. They can come visit you.
Sure.
Airfare and hotel and rent a car is expensive. So the doctor said, we don't have the population. And I said, yes, here in Maui at that time was about 120,000. I said, that's correct. But we have all the territories and trusts and all the different nations the United States has a relationship with. They're flying to Queens. They're flying to Straub to have their surgery there. I said, why can't we get some of those people to come to Maui at our new heart surgery clinic to justify to having such a service here? And they said, great. So they went back, they did their work, and today we see the heart surgery center here. I'm so grateful that we had that conversation. They went forward, and today it's one of the best in the state. My chairman, my campaign chairman, Doc Anzai, as we were campaigning, he was on a trip to Oahu and back. He needed heart surgery. He did it here in Maui. Before in the past, he would have to go to Oahu. We would all have to go and visit him and stay in the hotel. Very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the hospital in the right direction. There's many more areas we need to work on. And this is the relationship the legislature who oversees the hospitals can do to help increase this service for our public, for our community. And it dovetails into other things. And you talk about wellness. natural medicine. I think it's all together. It's a mix.
Well, and I'm aware. I was talking to you about candida. Western medicine doesn't understand systemic candida and doesn't recognize it and will scoff people about it, except if they're experts, just bring in big experts. Systemic candida is understood fully in more Eastern and other medicines. If these things would work together, we could come upon so many solutions and prevent some of the things that are going on. Or they know that cancer treatment is 90-something% not effective, and they find that frankincense, but I mean all these things that are in the world, if that were incorporated into a hospital, and it could be a hospital that has a wellness center as part of it, I think it could be revolutionary. Okay? And anyway, that's just my input into that, because that's the piece that's missing. Otherwise, these expenses are out of sight. How do you keep up with these expenses? Who's going to pay for all this?
That's come so much of the natural health stores has great appeal, and you see them coming up all over the islands. Even people with little in their backyards doing lomi lomi and other things, and it has worked. Many people have gone and said, you know, I went to the chiropractor, I went to this, it didn't work. I went to I'm not sure if the proper naturopath or
I know what you mean.
And it worked. And, you know,
Naturopath is a doctor, but you're talking about go to different kinds of healers and people that seem like alternative.
Yeah, alternative. And, you know, sometimes works this way, sometimes works that way, and you just got to figure out which one it is that works best for you.
Like acupuncture, you know, they say when America allowed acupuncture for pain, my ex-wife was in school, you know, to be a doctor of acupuncture. That was such a major thing for alternative medicine. And when chiropractic was suddenly let into the insurance world. So we're moving in a good direction that all that could happen. And I bet that would attract a lot of people to Maui. Maybe I'd be able to sell that house up there as a clinic.
You know, one of my dreams, again, being the mayor of Maui, was to make Maui the healing center of the Pacific. And I say this because we had a lot of athletes and pro teams wanted to come here to train rehab. And we really didn't have all the facilities they needed, but we weren't that far away. So I felt this would have been a great niche market for us. They're low impact, a lot of people in the medical field would work, high paying jobs, clean, green, and it puts a good spin on our tourism where it come to the healthy state, not just the margarita or the Mai Tai state. And
That's right.
I think that's a good direction to continue. And these are the type of areas that as a state legislation we could give incentives to bring these type of industries to the islands.
Any state issues that are right now sitting on the table, you think that your timing is good to be there?
Yeah, one of them is our elderly. You know, because of good medicine, alternative medicine, we started to live longer. I remember as a child, we used to see the numbers was 69 to 73, depends on male or female. Nowadays, I go to birthday parties where they're 100 years old, and not just once in a while. Nearly every year I go to several. They're 98, 99. I mean, my auntie gave up her license. She's 98 now. She gave up her driver's license, 96.
Wow.
She used to drive to our house every time. And the only reason she gave up her license, she said, my car is bad. No sense I buy a new one. And so now we drive around. But, you know, we see the longevity of our seniors, but it also causes another problem. They can't afford to live in this expensive world.
Well,
They
yeah.
retired when the retirement was like $150 retirement.
And they're not alone. You're talking way old.
Yeah.
There are people that are in their 60s and 50s and 60 that can't figure how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Imagine decades ago you retired. Now you have a nickel and a loaf of bread's $2.
Thank goodness for Social Security. There's a chunk there, but for some people, that's all they have.
I know.
And once you pay your basic rent, your utilities, your food, you're done.
And you're already done before you get there.
You know,
I've seen people that can't pay their rent, they get their money.
Yeah, so this
They're
is
living in cars. That's crazy.
This is an area we need to work on.
How about that one? I'm going to talk because
Yeah.
that may be a county thing. Why is it criminal to sleep in a car when there's nowhere for people to sleep.
You know, I'm not sure if it's illegal.
It is.
You're on private property, you're sleeping in a car.
Not
they stop
private
you.
property. You have nowhere to live,
Yeah.
and you have to sleep somewhere.
I mean, like a beach park or someplace.
Those are closed. The streets.
Oh, they lock
It's
the
getting-
streets.
It's really closing down here.
Yeah, you know, I don't know about that particular
Yeah.
law, but I don't see why. If,
That's state
you
or
know,
county? County.
That would probably be, could be either one. I mean, because the county could make it stiffer than the state. I'm not sure who drafted the law. But, you know, my personal feeling, if you don't see it, smell it, hear it, does it really bother anyone?
Well, you know, I think that for some reason that seems to be an easy priority for an officer. I don't
Yeah.
know. You know, it's when someone's in a car, they think the worst of everything.
Actually, you know, the bigger question should be, why is this person sleeping in the car? And how can we help them not sleep in the car? Because if you ask them, do you like living in the car? They'll probably say, no, but I have no other choice.
That's what you'll hear, and when you
Yeah.
go through the choices,
Mhm.
that's for another show. There's, you know, that's a whole area. I don't know if that's a state issue or a county issue, but I'll tell you, it's an issue.
I'm gonna tell you something. When people say it's a county or state, some have jurisdiction for enforcement, but it is all of our issue. I mean, one of the things I really would like to work on is on the homelessness. I mean, you know, we always seen it in the past, in the bushes, at the beach, but now it's spreading to the cities and the towns and the houses.
And the regular people that aren't
Yeah.
drug addicts, aren't alcoholics, don't have mental issues.
Yeah.
When you're on the street for a couple of years, you get mental issues.
Yeah, back in the 70s, 80s, they shut down all the mental institutions. They said
Yeah.
that's not a way people should be treated. But they had no cure for them. They just open the doors, let them out, and shut the doors and shut them down permanent. So all these people became street people. So I understand that.
But it's the mix
But
of
there's people
those
that-
that aren't. That's the
Yeah.
bit that's me.
You know, those that were one paycheck away to homeless.
Yeah.
Well,
Whoops.
the bell rang,
Right.
and
I met a guy yesterday. He lost his 8-day-a-month job. They wrote him $1,000. He has $600 from Social Security. That's it. His rent is $6.25. So if he borrows 25, he'll pay his rent.
Well, he can't pay his electric. He can't
That's-
heat.
oh, I know.
You know,
It's
and this
crazy.
is where we really need to work on this as society. I mean, society is judged by how you treat everyone. And in this particular area, we're doing a bad job.
Isn't that what golden rule means? I mean, if you
Yeah.
can't live with that in mind,
Yeah.
what is our point of living?
Yeah.
What is this? So it's really nice to hear you say that, because
Yeah.
that is where it's at. You can't legislate the heart. We need people to come out and be part of this community for all of the community.
You know, as Ameredes County, we try to tackle the homelessness. It wasn't as great. They were at Papalu. They took over the beach. We went in there. We cleaned it up. We had to make a makeshift permit processing so we could always have the opportunity to go and clean the beach. At that time, there were no bathrooms there, so people just dug a hole. They had goats and sofas and rugs, and it was a public beach, and it belonged to the public. So I said, you know, we're gonna have to move you guys. We need to give this beach back to the people. But we didn't just kick them out. You know, you see TV bulldozers and all this. No, we brought all those social service people in. We tried to place them in places, and we could place nearly all of them. There's one we couldn't place, and
He's mayor now?
no. There's a husband.
A
There's
fool.
a husband and wife with a
Yeah.
baby. She worked at a retail job. He worked at a landscaping job, and
Both working,
yeah,
homeless.
but they lived in their car.
See, there you are.
So they felt it was unsafe while we're doing this process because the wife was getting accosted by another, I guess, homeless person. So I made the offer to stay in my house in my garage. There's a bathroom, there's a shower. I didn't even ask my wife. And I went home and she said, "What?" And I said, "Well, we gotta help these guys out." She said, "Okay." The guy came back to me 2 days later and he said, "You know, I figured it out. I'm okay, but thank you." But, you know, I don't expect everybody to take someone in, but it's going to take many people, many hands to solve this. It cannot be just the county or just the state or just for nonprofits.
I know.
It's gonna be
You're
a
reading my
coalition
mail,
of all.
Kimo.
And everybody needs to like
From
e-
the heart.
even people need to give up some of their area or domain that they serve in for the bigger picture. And nobody really has coordinated that. I think it's something that I believe the state and county should join together. I mean, they do a lot of initiatives together. We want to do this, we want to do that. But let's get to the fabric of our community. And this one is a major one. When a lady told me she was going to her car after work, she got accosted by someone. And we never saw that before. Usually they still hide in the bushes. But
I
it's
had a
getting,
friend raped twice.
yeah.
I know, it's crazy.
Just today I was sign waving, and this lady in a scooter, she's around my age, a little older, and she told me a story about her. She said, "You gotta solve these problems, it's getting terrible." And I go, "What are you talking about?" I just riding my scooter at 4 o'clock in, daylight. She's going to the grocery store. This person picked her off the cart, her electric scooter. She's handy, she has issues. Put her on the ground, took her purse and ran. Broad daylight in the middle of town, unheard of.
Yeah.
But this is the way our community is heading because everything is getting so expensive, so much pressure. They don't see any way out. This person who robbed her might have had a family he's trying to feed. You don't know the story. It's not always drug related. And
Right.
it's sad that people are having to turn to those alternatives. I mean, we gotta find a way to
And
help.
find that the people that are down and hurting are grabbing what's around them, which is other people that are down and hurting. And
Mhm.
if something looks available, I mean, it's gotten to the point where if someone looks homeless, they're under suspicion, when in fact, it's
Yeah.
really horrible. Instead of helping, we've come to be, I think it's the TV. We see so much stuff, it's so comfortable to us. We have all this imagination, and people are acting out this stuff.
I think also it's part of our fear of what if. I mean, take for example, back in the 70s, everybody used to hitchhike. I mean, we didn't have a bus, we didn't have anything. Hitchhike, I probably know that person, jump in the back of the truck or jump in the car. Nowadays, when I was going to pick up someone thumbing it, I pulled over, my friends go, "What are you doing?" I said, "This guy probably going to Lahaina, where we going, let's give him a lift." You don't know if that person is a murderer, you don't know. I mean, it's because of all these other things happening, we get jaded and we become more hardened, or I'm
Yeah.
not sure what it is. It's
That-
protective. I
And
mean,
you're talking about the hitchhiking. I was talking to Nikhil Ananda yesterday, where he talked to Kalani, who brought it up. He'd been bringing it up about the hitchhiking law, no one was listening. Kalani got on council, and it became a unanimous, easy decision. Same thing maybe with the cars and people sleeping in the cars.
Yeah.
Maybe we have to find some solutions here and bring some more compassion and understanding.
we don't use the parking stalls at night. If they're not a nuisance to the community, as an interim measure, I don't see that being a major problem. A permanent solution, I think
We're
it might
working
be
on
a
it.
major problem. Yeah.
We're
But that's
working
why
on it.
we need to solve many things,
And come together as a community.
come together. I mean, the hospital, the elderly, the homeless is, there's many overlapping.
Yeah.
And we need to bring all the players or the people that can help to make sure we're servicing the people that need the service. I mean, there are some people who are homeless. Or I should say homeless. Choose not to live in a house.
Yes, that's another story.
And those you'll never convince. The ones that have medical or drug issues, we need to deal with them another way. But those of them,
Housing, they built
yeah.
100,000 houses across the country, put homeless people in them, handle the drug issues, and 85% are
Yeah.
moving forward. There's so many different things we could go at.
You wouldn't believe how many homeless people are working full time. It's incredible.
You wouldn't believe.
Yeah. And those are the ones that we really need to help first. There's a lot, it takes little effort to help them out. And
Any things that you want to talk about? I mean, I don't
yeah,
know.
you know, this campaigning here, it's doing the district. It's smaller. It's closer.
Yeah.
It's quaint. I could take a few days off to spend time with my wife and my family. We're running for the council or the mayor's race. It's large.
It's very
Somehow, I think the council race every 2 years is almost ridiculous. I mean, being a former council member as well as the mayor, he takes 6 months to train the new ones coming in.
You know, as a guy that wasn't in there, we were talking about this stuff all
Yeah.
this time. Junior Moniz came up to me. This is about a year and change. Is he still with us?
Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah.
He's very nice. He said, I know you, I know. Jason Schwartz. Oh, I'm Junior Moniz. And then he said to me something that I thought was really interesting. He said, you were right about energy. You were right about that. You were right about everything. A lot of things over time are coming out where we're all coming to realize, you know, it's a really growth. The fact that you can talk in this way as a former mayor with your level of experience and go into a state position is really, really important.
Yeah, I think it's a natural fit.
How did it, I know that this is probably a little off. Your opponent was appointed?
By the governor, yes.
Okay.
You know, we had what we call the
Bob
pass,
Nakasone
it was a passing of Inouye that triggered everything. When Inouye passed away, we needed the state of Hawaii. The state of Hawaii needed to fill his seat. The governor had the sole authority to appoint someone, and he appointed his lieutenant governor, Brian Schwartz. So he became a U.S. senator. Now that triggered who fills Lieutenant Governor Schwartz's seat, and by state rules, it is first offered to the Senate President, and that is Shan Tsutsui. When offered the seat, Shan Tsutsui said, I'll serve. So now Shan Tsutsui is the Lieutenant Governor, and Shan Tsutsui Senate, state Senate seat is open. It went through a process, and Gil Agaran was appointed by the governor.
Right.
And then now, since Gil left his House seat, the process went through, and then Mr. Woodson was appointed by the governor. And that kind of shocked the community, because Woodson, no one heard of him. When you read the paper, you go, who's this guy? And then later we find out he's been in Maui for a very short time, but I guess he has a relationship with the governor, and it is what it is. And that is what also compelled me to run for the State House. I felt that the district needed someone that was born in that area, that went to school in that area. I know most of the residents by name and their kids, and you know who married who moved to what house, who sold their house. I mean, it's those kind of things where you go bar sugar and eggs, and you know we used to ride pedal bike all around the community. You know, our parents all were.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I really know the community. I really know the local style, where we can have meetings in garages. It's okay. I mean, I'm stopped in the bathroom and said, Kimo, you can help me with this problem? It's okay. I mean, they call late at night, and this is the style of my district. The current representative is more from the mainland. He has a different style, and I'm not sure it serves the district well. I think my style, my experience, my integrity will serve the district very, very well. So I put my name out there, and a couple of days we'll find out which way the
Which
people
way
of the
the ball
district
bounces, yeah.
would like to see it happen.
You feel that you can serve better in the seat as an advocate? You know, I always ask that.
Yeah, you know, part of being a legislature, you're one of many. So you need to know a lot of different people to make things happen. Like I said, many of the House members are former council members and mayors like myself. So we come with the, I guess the learning or the job set skills that it's county first, people first, versus like the big stroke of trying to change the whole state at once without knowing what I call a domino effect. You make this law, certain things will happen. We from the county side can see that more clearly, I believe. I believe also, being the state legislature, that you gotta have a vision of where you're going, you know. And being the mayor and council member, you kind of see things your community needs, what you tried that didn't work, then you need to have to attack it from another angle. I always say there's 99 ways to skin a cat. If it doesn't work, go find out if the other 90 works. And so I have these things I wish to do is the seniors, the hospital, the homeless. I think the way our state financials is set up, that we've been, you know, stealing from Peter to pay Paul so long that it's catching up. It's really catching up.
Sounds like USA.
Yeah, and you know, they tried last year. They did a good start. I think they did 200 million, which is a drop in a bucket when you're talking 16 billion. That needs to be accelerated because it hurts our bond debt. It hurts our bond rating. It's hurt our bond what we can borrow interest at. But more importantly, it pushes the debt to our children, which is not fair to them, because they're going to get problems of their own. And if we just keep putting them behind the 8 ball, someday it's going to crash.
I'm afraid I'm more accelerated than that in the sense that a lot of people are finding that this is the end. Unless we do some major and dramatic things soon, there won't be any grandchildren to worry about. Things, you know, things are happening in our world that we can't stay isolated. We have to really expect to do make radical changes. And like you say, it's time to all of us step up and be part of this.
You know, I'm a John F. Kennedy kind of guy. I mean, I never met him. I mostly see film clips, but listening to him, reading him, I have the same philosophy. That, you know, it's not government will do everything. We all have to pitch in and help out.
Yeah.
It's a community issue. I mean, you talk about education, they always blame the teachers. How come my child's not smart enough? You know, you got to invest. That's your child. You need to invest in your child, read to your child, help your child, you know, take interest in your child.
Sure.
Because, you know, it's part about the child feels safe at home, they have a meal. All these things help them grow. And that's part of a parent to provide these things. And so many times people have said, that's the teacher's job. It's all of our job.
All of our job.
Yeah. And that's come this year, you know, I really grassroots. I mean, I like to go knocking at doors. I like to walk in streets. I don't mind sign waving. I don't mind going to restaurants and malls and meeting people and they stopping me. I mean, even at the stoplight.
They still remember you, of course.
At the stoplight, they go, Kimo, what about this? You gotta go fix this. And, you know, I'm really grassroots kind of guy. And I believe in community service. So this year, one of the things I've taken up as my personal project, as I went door to door, knocking on doors, I'm walking on the sidewalk. And there's all weeds and thorns. And I said, you know, our seniors cannot walk on this sidewalk. They need to exercise. Our kids are going to have a difficult time walking to school. So you're going to walk on the road. It's, you know, their clothes will stay cleaner. So this campaign season and after, I vowed to try and clean up the sidewalk. So every day I go there and try to clean up 2 or 3 areas, and hopefully people catch the spirit and
come
start
out
cleaning.
with your own little hose and
and
maybe
you know,
make
just
it a group
cleaning
project.
your area, and you know, many hands make light work. My mom always told me, and I think part of a legislator or elected official's job, you know, you have some kind of like rock star power that you can enable and light people to do community good. Like Kennedy said, don't ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I believe in that. I mean, so much that I try to lead by example, and hopefully it's like a smile. You smile, the next person smiles, and then everybody's smiling. I think it's the same way with community volunteerism.
Want to change subjects for?
Go ahead.
Watch this. Let's see. We're going to do an initial thing.
Okay.
G.
Okay.
What's next? M.
O.
What?
genetically
See,
modified.
I was thinking General Motors. No,
Ah,
GMO. As you know, we've heard this bantered around, and I
Mhm.
know that people. There are a lot of people in the world that think
Mhm.
that Monsanto is the big bad guy, and there are people that work for Monsanto that think opposite, and all kinds of studies and everything. This GMO thing, it to me is an extraordinary thing that they got that many signatures in a short time to bring an initiative on the ballot.
Uh, I don't think so. I think it was inevitable that's going to come to a head.
That's a lot of people had to
Yeah.
put on the. I saw a commercial that talks, and the commercial talks about a small fringe group. There ain't no small fringe group to get that many signatures.
Yeah, I think they are 11 or 12,000, and that's quite a bunch. I can't remember in my career or my lifetime it ever happening before.
So that's why I was bringing it up, because it is almost like it's the elephant in the room this year.
Yeah. You know, GMO, a lot of people signed the petition to put it on a ballot, I guess to ban it from Hawaii. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, the GMO thing is, if you want to do it, can you show us that it's safe before you do it?
Yeah.
That's all. And otherwise, show us it's safe, we're happy to have it.
You know, the best part about this GMO coming forefront is that we're going to get educated. Both sides, pro and against, are going to come out with their big guns and tell, hopefully, the true facts about their side.
My concern is fear, the fear of the job loss and its repercussions, and the thought that you can imagine as a mayor, if you had to change something, you
Yeah.
needed to figure out, how do I use these resources differently? Same
Mhm.
with the people. I think it's almost as if, when we're talking wellness,
Yeah.
you have to really get into a new breed of job creation and take away the fear of loss and take a look at children and children's children. It's a
Yeah.
big, big thing.
You know, jobs is kind of like development. If we wait for someone to come on our doorstep and pitch something to us, we have to take or leave what they
We gotta
offer.
look at- Right.
We need to be proactive and go out and go find new industries that we want. That's
Mhm.
why as a mayor, I try to get the film industry here, the sound industry. We got
Renewable energy.
some
I remember.
renewable energy.
I know.
I started the solar water heater program
Mhm.
so that every resident could have one. We started a revolving fund.
Mhm.
And you need to be proactive. The Healthy Hawaii, where you can rehab and other things.
Mhm.
The Medical Hawaii. Again, it's many ways, many fingers or tentacles or different theories you have to try to solve a single problem. And alternative living is one. I mean, we have to do, like again, we have to try always. There's no one cookie cutter, because if there was, we wouldn't have this problem today. And this is where thinking out of the box, people who open-minded, people who are willing to try, are the people that actually gonna solve this problem.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd be pushed to be alternative. Some people would define me as homeless, but it's only through the grace of a friend that I have a place to be,
Yeah.
because all kinds of things that happen beyond my control. We're in a really interesting time, and I know that it takes someone with a history and knowledge and also the heart. It's really been a pleasure.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
Anything that you'd like these guys to know, or you don't want to forget to say?
Yeah, I always tell people, you know me as a council member, you know me as a mayor. I mean, I'm the same guy, just a little older, with a lot less hair.
No, you're doing good.
But I think over the years I've matured a lot, and a lot of other things made me realize that life is more important than just collecting the most gold in the world. My wife had a medical thing that she needed to take care of, and it really made me realize that the friends you keep is more important than the gold you store. I think the legacy, or I should say legacy, but what we leave for our children is very important. And I read this poster once and it stuck in my mind forever. And they said, what we have today was not given to us by our parents, but is unknown to us by our children. And the more I think about it, yeah, we just borrowing it for the next generation, you know, ask for it. And like being a good Boy Scout, you leave the place nicer than you found it. You treat others the way that you like them to treat you. And if you can offer a helping hand to a friend, a stranger, or anyone, do it. And these are the things that drive me in my life. And I hope I can be your representative. I think I have great ideas. I have a way to bring a unique way to bring all types of people to the table to solve common issues. I'm knowledgeable enough. The experience I bring, I think I could represent the district very, very well. And this primary, I ask for your vote. So with that, Jace, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys for watching and taking the time. I think that we all know that the most important thing is going out and exercising and voting.
Get involved.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.